Welcome in to DC On Screen, a podcast about the DC Universe properties being brought to film and television. I am your host, David C. Robertson, and this is Jason.
Hello.
So, this is our news episode. There may be spoilers in this episode.
Hey, wait, which kind? I'm not sure
the same kind as anything. If it's been released, there is a possibility that we will talk about it. So if you haven't caught up on Gotham or Arrow or The Flash or whatever, we'll have our TV section a little later in the show. We're going to just talk about some random news, and that shouldn't be too spoilery.
No, okay. I was afraid you were going rogue on me. I was preparing earmuffs.
No worries on that, sir.
Sure.
All right, let's start out with some non-DCEU news. Rosario Dawson is apparently going to be playing Batgirl / Barbara Gordon in the Lego movie, in the Batman Lego movie.
Nice.
With Will Arnett. So that's kind of cool.
So she's crossing both waters here.
Yeah, she's got 1 foot in DC and 1 foot in Marvel. Actually, if you want to be more specific, she played a character in Sin City. So she's just kind of hopping around the multiverse, man. Dark Horse, DC, Marvel.
I know.
All right. I'll try to get through this part kind of quickly. But they basically released an entire DLC Arkham Knight listing through to the end of the year. I'm not going to say all of this stuff. Christopher White, our buddy Chris, sent this to us. So we've already talked about.
The list looked very thorough.
It was very, very thorough. We have already talked about the stuff in October, but the big news, I think, is the November pack, which is going to be they're going to be opening Batman vs Superman Batmobile. Mm-hmm. We're going to get Batman vs Superman Batman skins. Mm-hmm. The Batmobile, Wayne Tech pack. We've got another episode, Catwoman's Revenge. God, man. A flip of a coin starring Robin. That sounds like a Two-Face story.
Doesn't it?
More Robin skins, Batmobile skins, Robin-themed Batmobile skin, the original Tim Drake Robin skin, a Riddler-themed Batmobile skin, and a whole bunch of new AR challenges. Then we are in December. They're going to be bringing out Season of Infamy, Most Wanted expansion pack, which is going to have missions for Killer Croc, Mr. Freeze, Mad Hatter, Ra's al Ghul. It's also going to have the 2008 Christian Bale Batman skin. It's going to have the original Arkham Asylum Batmobile.
I just assumed the original Bale was in all of these games, and he was just woefully retired the entire time.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say woefully retarded, which also fits in with Christian Bale's Batman.
I assumed he was somewhere not doing his damn job.
Right. So yeah, I think that's really cool. They're really pulling out all the stops on these skins. And
sounds like on the
Arkham Knight and expansions and whatnot.
Yeah, it seems like the December pack or that villain pack was it's kind of just everyone they've ever actually constructed.
Yeah, and I got no hate.
You've already built the characters, so throw them out there.
Right.
You already got the skins.
So, a trailer. They released the trailer for Batman Bad Blood, the animated movie that picks up right after Batman vs Superman.
Right. It's the one Taylor Swift tried to ruin for you earlier this year.
Mm-hmm. I didn't read it, but I saw an article that said something like 6 more Taylor Swift songs, which would be great titles for Batman movies. I don't know. I didn't read the article.
That actually sounds fun to put together.
I probably will go back and look at it at some point.
Right.
But this movie picks up right after Batman vs. Robin. It involves the supposed death of Batman and the arrival of Batwoman and Batwing. In this version, Lucius Fox's son, I think his name was Luke Fox, as vigilantes in Gotham. Dick Grayson becomes Batman and teams up with Damian. They're trying to face down this new villain called the Heretic, who commands a number of other villains. Hellhound, Electrocutioner, and the Calculator are all in this little team that he's put together.
Right.
looked pretty cool. I'll see it. We'll probably do a review of it on this show.
Oh yeah, we'll probably hit that up. It sounds it honestly, when I looked at the who they've got positioned where, it kind of, I wondered if they were just trying to get the actual weekly sales up, because that's where they are in the books now. Is, you know, Bruce is kind of off, well, a little bit of nowhere, and you know, it's Dick Grayson with the cowl and everything.
Right. Well, yeah, it was Jim Gordon.
Yeah,
and as far as I know, it was Jim Gordon.
No,
I heard
it had gone back now to Grayson.
Yeah, I heard Snyder say that the future of Batman is Dick Grayson as opposed to Bruce Wayne. I don't know how I feel about that, but I'd give it 6 months to a year before Bruce is back in the cape and cowl.
That's the thing. Yeah, something has to survive at least 2 years for me to even begin to consider it part of canon. Mm-hmm. It has to be hanging around for like a good couple of years. I have to forget that I've been waiting to judge it long. At that point, I start considering it as a real possibility.
Right. So speaking of things that aren't canon, Vulture has released a new mashup trailer called Batman vs. Superman circa 1949.
Right.
We'll put a link to it in the show notes. It features Kirk Allen from the 1948 serial Superman and Robert Lowry as Batman from the 1949 serial Batman and Robin. Now it's really fun. I found it a lot of fun.
It is,
because they don't try to mimic the new Batman versus Superman trailer by any means. They just kind of do their own thing, and
they just took the words Batman versus Superman and used the footage that was there.
Yeah, and like both serials involve train scene. Both of them. It looks like they're.
They didn't try to force it too much or anything.
I can't remember the name of it, but it looks like both actually filmed during the, or not during, but at the, what are those big rocks in California? It's the same rocks that Kirk fought the Gorn at. They're in like a million movies.
Sounds like those an incredibly vague question.
It's a very specific location, and it's in California.
Yeah, I know.
And like so many movies have shot there because it can look like an alien landscape. It can look like just a random desert with rocks. It can look like a lot of different things.
I think Johnny Depp just tried to sell some cologne by those rocks recently.
But yeah, anyway, so they mashed it up really well. It looks really good. It actually does, to me, look like this Batman versus Superman.
Right.
So, but the old style Batman. It's a lot of fun.
It was. It kind of made you. I mean, honestly, when you were done, weren't you thinking like, God, I wish I'd watched that movie 15 times at this point in my life already? I wish it was like one of those things that I knew about when I was young, before Keaton was even there, and I could just remember it fondly. Like when you were young, like you remember being. Well, no, you didn't. Apparently, you didn't fall for it. I was young and dumb, and watching Adam West, I was like, Batman. It didn't occur to me that it was a joke, or that the joke was on me at any point. I was just like, oh my God, I love watching Batman beat up people.
Yeah. That's funny that you say that, though, that the joke was on you.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is an interesting theory going about. I can't remember the person who said it, but this guy over at Movie Pilot, I think. And Movie Pilot is just kind of all manner of crazy. You never know what you're really going to get. But I thought it was an interesting theory. I really hope it's not true. But we've talked before about how Batman versus Superman is not what the actual title of the movie is. It's Batman v Superman, as in like the people versus Superman.
Right.
Like in a court of law. But this theory puts together other theories around the internet.
Oh, God.
And also adds some stuff. Now, we've talked about the theory that Joker in Suicide Squad and the Batman v Superman movie is actually Jason Todd.
Sure.
This theory says, yes, he was a Robin, but he was not that Robin. He was, in fact, John Blake. This theory suggests that Ben Affleck is not playing Bruce Wayne. He's playing Deathstroke. Because in so far in the trailers, we haven't heard him be called Bruce Wayne. He points out that Michael Ironside actually looks like Deathstroke's butler more than he does any other Alfred we've seen.
That's just a vague concept, though, right? Like, I mean, I suppose Deathstroke probably would. He travels a lot. He actually probably would have to have a butler if he has a house. But
Yeah, I mean, he actually does have a butler, and I mean, he is pretty much the anti-Batman, and he did show
That's
up
true.
as Batman in I can't remember the name of his super group that he had there for a while, but he actually did wear a Batman costume, and they did point out that it looked a lot like Affleck's Batman costume.
Of course it did.
And the J on Joker's face stands for John Blake. Also, if you take the first two letters out of John Blake and the last two letters, it says joke. He believes that Christian Bale will show up again as the proper Batman. Now, I think this is all bullshit, and I really hope it's not true because I
I'm
never want to see
fascinated
Christian
by
Bale
the
in the suit
theory.
again.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm fascinated by the concept. This is absolute not. I mean, I can tell you right now at this point in the tale that all you've proven to me is that the person who generated this theory has a lot of access to medication. Like, there's a whole college dormitory that can't study for exams this year.
Yeah. Now, I will say that, and this is pointed out again in this theory, the bullet holes in the scars on Joker's deltoids are in the same place on the Robin costume. That does bother me. That does worry me.
That one
that's
is
somehow going to
the
be
single most concrete thing I've heard so far.
Yeah.
And I've already said I don't actually mind if he is a post-Robin. That would kind of make some sense.
But yeah, in this version, like in this guy's theory, like Christian Bale Joker happened, or like the Heath Ledger Joker happened, Christian Bale Batman happened, and Commissioner Gordon's dead. That's why he's dead. Whole bit, man. It's all in the Batman v Superman. It actually stands for Batman 5. Because if you take in Batman Begins 1, Dark Knight 2, Dark Knight Rises 3, Man of Steel
We have to make
would be
Man
4.
of Steel the fourth Batman movie?
Yes.
Surely this is the point
And
where
then-
you take all the yarn and push pins off your wall and start again, buddy.
And then Batman 5, Superman
Superman.
Dawn of Justice.
Oh man, I don't know what to tell you. If he's right, it's possibly a sign of the end of the world. Now, if he's right about most of that, I will be more appalled by this movie than I've been in a very long time.
Yeah. And they're saying, he's saying
Oh,
that
you know,
also...
we've talked a couple
in
times
reference
about
to
like,
the-
would we ever walk out of this film? I'll tell you, if I see Bale, I'm walking out of the film right then.
I'm not.
Oh, I'm going to have to. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll come back and pay more money just to watch it, but I won't be able to handle the emotion of the moment. I'll have to leave. Probably go stand around and...
Now, importantly, his little theory
Uh-huh.
says that is hinted at, and there, he's got a lot of stuff backing him up, like based on what we've seen. And I've mentioned most of that here. I can't remember all of it, honestly, and I didn't actually want to sit and write it all down because this is not detailed true news. This is a theory.
Yeah. And it would bring you to the depths of this guy's sanity.
One of the things he pointed out was that there was a very detailed Christian Bale action figure that was released online that said, "Oh, it's the new suit for Batman v Superman." And people flipped out going, "Well, why does it look like Christian Bale?" And then Warner Brothers said, "Oh, well, that was like a clever fan mock-up." And then it didn't look anything like the stuff that they came out with Ben Affleck.
Give him the real
2,
answer to that is, we didn't pay enough attention to our production process. Therefore, the action figure's shitty. Thanks, kids.
It also he also brings up the fact that Christian Bale was actually offered $50 million to show up in Batman v Superman, and then like almost immediately after they announced Ben Affleck.
I don't remember him ever being really pitched the role. Did he get offered?
I don't remember that either.
I think
I don't remember that.
I'm almost sure around that time that like people were talking about him because he was the guy at the moment. He was currently holding them. I'm almost sure I remember like seeing him say somewhere, "No, I'm not doing that again."
Yeah,
Right.
but no. They also point out the what is it? The Bee Gees song? Is that what it is? In Suicide Squad. Yeah, the joke was on me. And and you notice the joke is right underneath the R on "haha, jokes on you, Batman," or whatever it is in the Batman v Superman trailer. I don't know.
Again, man,
It's
many
stretching it so hard.
attention attention deficit medication was abused during the course of this theory.
Yeah. So anyway, I just thought that'd be kind of a funny thing to talk about real quick.
I was fascinated. I really am.
Yeah. I mean, if any of that turns out to be true,
Hats off.
God.
His Schwartz will be much greater than ours.
Yes, I will say hats off for now. Right now, because if it does turn out to be true, I have no time to say it. I won't even have time for this podcast because I'll be trying to figure out whose homes I need to gas and burn.
Right.
Or I'll just agree that DC is doomed, and I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know where this podcast will stand then.
No, I'm sure we'll be back. It'll be an hour of us just crying. Just an hour of heavy sobs.
Right. Speaking of heavy sobs, Bob Kane is, he's getting a star. He got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on October 21st. Mm-hmm. No mention of Bill Finger.
Now, greatest plagiarist of our age.
Yeah.
Is that worth a star?
Well, hey, I mean, Stan Lee has his star.
I know.
No mention of Jack Kirby.
Yeah, that always seemed rude. I figured they were punishing him for the New Gods. That's what you get for...
your hatred of the New Gods...
It's not even all of them.
You.
I like a lot of them. It's just Granny Goodness.
That's just you.
It's just Granny Goodness. I like
Granny Goodness.
I dislike her in a way that it kind of like seeps over onto the other New Gods. Yeah, I know they're good. Damn it.
I'll say this. Best version of Granny Goodness I've ever seen was on Smallville.
Yeah, you've said that. And
genuinely creepy.
Yeah. And as I promised, I'll find out about that by next year and probably agree. Hopefully it'll get me over some of my hatred for that, because it's about
I really
time
enjoy
I
what they
put
did
that
with
to
her.
bed, but damn it.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil you on what they do, but yeah, it's
For
actually...
God's sake,
I really
don't. I got to watch 10 seasons. You need to leave me as much meat on that hook as you can. Hey, give me a fighting chance, dude.
Oh, Warner Brothers announced the Lego DC Comics superheroes Justice League Cosmic Clash, where the Lego versions of the Justice League will battle Brainiac in the future with the Legion of Superheroes, and that's going to be coming out in 2016.
Cool.
I think that we didn't mention last week, Jared Leto, actually both Jared Leto and Mark Ruffalo from the Avengers there. Went to the New York Comic Con in disguise. Jared Leto went dressed as a giant ape and posed with Joker cosplayers. Mm-hmm. And basically Mark Ruffalo did the same thing. He was just in this, I don't know what it was. It was a weird, like, Muppet looking thing.
I didn't even look at the costumes. I just saw the gag and laughed.
Mm-hmm. Now, apparently, Justice League Dark, or Dark Universe, is set to start filming in 2016. Guillermo del Toro, he did recently back out of the project, which sucks tremendously.
True.
But they have given the reins over to producer Scott Rydin, who produced Ex Machina and Steve Jobs. And they're looking into directors and trying to finalize the new one.
Fassbender one, right?
The Fassbender one.
Kutcher's was just named Jobs.
Kutcher was just Jobs, yeah.
Okay.
So, and Steve Jobs is actually getting really good reviews.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, you pretty much, when you put Fassbender in there, you did most of the work for yourself.
Yeah.
That was...
Actually, Kutcher's pretty good, too, in a lot of things. When he does dramatic roles.
Yeah. I heard he actually, tried the fruitarian diet to stay on method and ended up hospitalized about 4 weeks in. Gotta have your vitamin supplements, man. Gotta.
Kind of funny. So yeah, they're looking at directors and trying to finalize the script. I don't know if it's this. We don't know if it's the same script that Guillermo turned in, but apparently the plot is rumored to involve a madman stealing ancient tomes in hopes of destroying humanity. And in order to stop him, John Constantine calls upon the aid of other paranormal and supernatural beings such as Zatanna, Deadman, and Swamp Thing.
Awesome.
So
all of that sounds awesome.
Let's do it.
I want to see all of them. And yes, of course, we want to see Matt Ryan, but
yes, we do.
Probably not going to happen now that he's on Arrow.
Probably not going to happen. There is a big rumor going around. Humberto Gonzalez over at Heroic Hollywood. This is a rumor. He's saying, though, that WB is looking to go more of a team route, and that'll make sense. You know, it kind of ties in with the Justice League Dark announcement. that they're also going to be setting up a Teen Titans movie and an all-female team, most likely Birds of Prey. Again, don't know if that's true or not, but I would love to see a Birds of Prey movie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'd love to see a Teen Titans movie. Let's do all of those
Oh
things.
yeah, yeah. And I'm telling you, man, the Teen Titans they're a walking mint. They always make money.
Yeah. And I'll say this, man. I mean, if they're actually thinking about doing a Teen Titans movie, that lays to rest, that probably, I'll say, lays to rest a lot of the conjecture involving Dick Grayson and or Jason Todd being the Joker in Batman v Superman, because I don't imagine that they're going to have a Teen Titans without a Robin of some sort, and it's generally Dick Grayson who's in charge of that.
Generally, yeah. And you know, you've always got Tim Drake hanging around. I think he fits in nice if you want to use him instead.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he was fine in Young Justice.
yeah, I thought he did a great job there. But
also, though, I mean, if they're looking for teams, good team movies, just throwing it out there, Red Hood and the Outlaws.
I'm going to make you that movie one day, Dave. I don't care if I have to film it in my backyard with a red plastic bag. I'm going to make you that movie one day.
Right. Now, there's been a lot of conjecture that Doomsday is going to be in Batman v Superman, but Batman v Superman, the visual effects just wrapped on it, and one of the 3D creature artists, Sean Ray, actually had this to say on social media. He said, "Batman v Superman has wrapped one of the best films I have worked on. My inner child is happy. I'm the biggest Superman fan ever, so it was a dream to work on it. Looking forward to seeing it on the big screen in March. I can't wait. Good job, everyone who worked on it." And then a fan asked if Doomsday was in the movie, and he says, "Unfortunately, Doomsday is not in Batman v Superman. Maybe in a Man of Steel sequel or a Justice League movie, maybe." So it looks like Doomsday is not, unless this dude's just lying.
I mean, it's
looks like
possible.
Doomsday
I
isn't
could swear there's press. God, maybe we just got so used to the idea that we forgot whether there's a real citation, but I could swear there was press over the summer saying that Doomsday was actually involved.
Yeah, but just like anything on the internet, you get news and they say, it's confirmed, and then it's not confirmed.
Yeah, I could have sworn it was WB press, like WB releases. Fuck, I don't know anymore. It's a cave of flipper hands and lies. I don't fucking know.
Flipper hands and lies.
Yeah. That's all they ever feed us.
Well, hopefully this isn't a lie.
We're going to starve on that diet.
This is an old piece of news. This is from 2014, but I'd never heard it before, and I haven't seen it cited before. I haven't seen it cited almost any. I've only found it in one place.
Always a good sign.
And it was just a random article, and they cited Jeff Johns. Apparently, in a 2014 article, they did cite where he said it. But I had never seen it before, because this was before we were doing the podcast. I didn't look at every piece of news back then. But he's quoted as saying, "We look at it as the multiverse. We have our TV universe and our film universe, but they all coexist." See, that last part is the part that's important to me, because it makes me feel like they are ramping up a new crisis.
I've read that line a couple times.
Yeah.
I know that quote's out there. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot of... first time I heard it was when people were asking him about, well, why did you just cast another Flash? We have a perfectly good Flash right here. Mm-hmm. That's when I started hearing stuff like that, and I know I've heard that quote for a while. That's been his philosophy.
Yeah, this dude is working as a producer on these films. He is co-writing. Man, it's Jeff Johns.
Yeah.
If he's saying they all coexist, then I'm really hoping that these movies are successful and we actually do get a Crisis on Infinite Earths of some sort.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I'm just saying, I'm just, putting some more putty into the foundation.
Hey, we as we've said before, we keep hoping. And at this point, he's counting on it. And it seems to be part of what DC is doing right now in general with that loose continuity idea they've got going on. Hey, someone really needs to send them like a cutout of the word oxymoron in the dictionary. Just pop it over to the offices. Maybe get a plaque for them.
Right.
But they are really into that whole idea that there's we have the the things we know, which should, by the way, include Bruce Wayne being Batman, so whatever. But the things we know and we absolutely are sure about, and then there's, as it expands outwards, it gets into more of a, well, it could be that way. And man, The problem with it is you never know where you are on that. Like, I don't know how much stake to have when I'm reading one of these stories anymore. Like,
Yeah.
They've done that to me where I don't know when it's real and when it's fake anymore. Like, when is this an Elseworld tale? Why does this
Well,
have
I think the thing you should take away from it is that everything is real and nothing is real.
Right.
It's all multiverse. It happened in somewhere.
Yeah, the only real hope I've actually found in it is that, well, they still follow the money after all. So if nothing is real and everything is real all at once, then anything means nothing and nothing means anything, and that's all fine. Because what actually does mean something is what we like. If we like it, we put our money to it, and we buy it, we decide continuity. Because it'll stand if we fucking say so.
Yes, but as the people who read comic books have shown, the money is in the multiverse. The money is in not knowing. Because every time they revamp, their sales jump.
Yeah, it's true.
Every time they revamp, their sales jump. So
That's
it's
true.
not like the fans are voting with their dollar and saying, we don't like this. They're saying, let's do another revamp. Let's do another one. I don't know. Whatever, man.
What if we just make
number one?
We'll just make Batman red. It'll be put it out there. Let's see how it does.
Yep. So jumping over to TV news. And we don't have very much this week for TV news. Over on Arrow, Wendy Miracle says Malcolm Merlin's character for the 4th season will apparently revolve around Thea and trying to be a good father while also being the very evil, badass Ra's al Ghul. She says, we want to restore him to more of the season 1 Malcolm who was going around and messing up Oliver's plans and anyone else he can cross paths with. So
Why? I liked him as the reluctant sidearm.
I know. But
Now, saying the father thing, though, maybe she does stay around in Nanda Parbat for a second.
yeah. And you know who else was you know something that evil season 1 Merlin was into?
Earthquake machines?
His son, Tommy. Just saying. My long-standing belief that Tommy will be resurrected in the Lazarus pit.
No, man. He's as dead as the earthquake machines that buried him.
Now, she also spoke a little bit about Nyssa and said that she's definitely not going to be on board with Malcolm as Raish. We're hoping to take that in a cool, very fighty-fight-oriented direction. Over to Supergirl, we now have confirmation that Toyman is going to be her friend's father, Windshot's father.
Okay.
And he's already been Toyman, and he was in prison. Yeah.
Oh.
So that is the nature of their relationship.
So they have themselves a veteran villain hanging around that universe now.
Yep.
Okay. You got to have
Speaking
one.
of villains, let's go over to Rise of the Villains in Gotham. They recently did sort of a press junket and talked to lots of the cast members. Robin Lord Taylor says that there's going to be a lot of interaction between Nigma and the Penguin.
Really?
They're going to team up.
Oh,
that
sounds
fantastic.
Great. Yeah, I hadn't foreseen any kind of path crossing with those two, but
yeah. One of the big things was Barbara said that her big motive is to get back with Gordon. So that's what Barbara's big motive is. For this season,
she's
apparently
suggested it a couple times, and could they have named something that you would be less interested in?
They could have.
Do you have an example? Because I can't think of any single thing that I would be less interested in than how her and Jim are doing.
Her becoming Harley Quinn.
That's just actively scary.
Sure. Theo Gallivan, as apparently he said his history with the city and the Waynes will come to light. He's going to go after Bruce Wayne. Mm-hmm. Bruce Wayne is the key to the puzzle. Bruce is at the heart of Theo's avenging story. I'm not sure exactly what that means, except that Bruce Wayne is going to be in some danger.
So he's...
Now, here's...
Well, I think they were going to... Did they cast... haven't there been some mention that maybe Thomas Wayne was coming back a little bit? Some flashback scenes to maybe him and Theo?
Maybe. I haven't seen that.
I'll see.
That may be a thing. I haven't seen it, though. Now, here was an interesting thing. It's out there. The video's out there. But Ben McKenzie said something, and it seemed to me like about halfway through the sentence, he kind of got real weird, like he wasn't supposed to be saying this, and then reluctantly, sheepishly finished his thought. But in reference to Jerome, he said, people who die, and when he says die, he put up his little quotation fingers.
Oh, God.
In Gotham, have a second life to them, and that life comes... And that life comes through the tinkering that Strange and his group are doing with the bodies in the morgue.
Oh, that's just That's just weird.
Yeah, so apparently Hugo Strange is going to be working in the morgue and bringing back people.
It's just... Okay. I mean, okay. He needs
And
to get on it,
speaking of,
because Jerome's rotting right now.
Yeah. Speaking of people, though, who died, apparently, Robin Lord Taylor once again points out that he really wants Fish to come back. Fish Mooney. He points out that Fish can swim. Ha ha ha. And we never saw a body.
Yeah, it's the never saw a body thing. But they can't have it both ways. We saw Jerome's body. They like zoom in on it.
Yeah.
So don't pull the, we never saw the body. No, you've got to do it in the basement resurrecting bodies. Don't. You never found her body. That's the thing.
I know.
So people are confusing me now.
Man.
And they're doing it deliberately.
All right, you want to move over to listener feedback?
Yeah, man.
All right, so we got a response from Edward Wheat on the website. He says, "Hey guys, great podcast. I'm not a DC fan by any means. I'm more of a Marvel person, but I like how you guys know so much about DC that it makes me a fan now. My question is this: does the Flash have any iconic villains to face like Batman and Superman does?"
I mean, some of the basics are Captain Cold, Mirror Master, Trickster even. I mean, they've brought up...
Gorilla Grodd.
Yeah. I mean, Gorilla Grodd's really one of the more...
He's hard to say. His name is hard to say, apparently.
He's hard to pronounce, yeah. But it's okay. He just...
Gorilla Grodd.
He just thinks his name at people anyway, so what the hell does he care how hard it is to say?
Right. I mean, I would say no to his question. I don't think the Flash has the iconic villains that the others have, but because I think that was mainly because the Flash has not traditionally been as popular as Batman and Superman have in pop culture. Like, the Flash has only had, one television series and shown up on a couple of animated series.
Yeah,
so
he's not had as much chance to have a real freestanding rogues gallery. Like the Batman rogues gallery is, at this point, it's so much a part of Americana that you can take them and put them elsewhere. You could take the Penguin and put him in a Flash comic, and no one would think twice about it. But if you take Captain Cold and throw him at Batman, everyone wonders who the hell he is.
Right, and they actually kind of did that in Identity Crisis. They brought in Captain Boomerang and had him kill Tim Drake's father, just out and out kill him. Like, this is a merc, man. He's like a badass. Yeah. But because he's called Captain Boomerang and he throws, trick boomerangs at people that blow up and shit, right, no one takes him seriously.
Yeah.
But the character himself, he's going to be in the Suicide Squad movie. He's been in Arrow and The Flash.
He looks great in the Suicide Squad movie, too.
Yeah. So, there are lots of cool characters. Like Gorilla Grodd, he's a telepathic sentient ape who actually has ties to the Speed Force. And he has his own gorilla city that's hidden behind a cloak.
Yeah, he's got his own gorilla city. Like, by sentient, he's not like Luthor smart, but close.
He's damn
devastatingly intelligent.
Yeah, and the trickster James Jesse, as portrayed by Mark Hamill numerous times. This guy is basically, somewhat of a cross between the Riddler and the Joker to me. Like, he's psychotic. He's crazy. He's awesome.
But that's a little bit of the problem that some people have with the Flash's characters is if I name one character, you can be like, if I say, well, Captain Cold, you're like, oh yeah, like Mr. Freeze. No, I like the Trickster. Right. Oh, you mean the Joker. Damn it.
Yeah, but, Captain Cold is not like Mr. Freeze.
Not at all.
Captain Cold is very deeply disturbed, very emotional, he's flat out evil. Mr. Freeze is always more of a emotionless, less and let's not forget Captain Cold.
He's an anti-villain.
Mr. Freeze in Batman started out as Mr. Zero, and he was nothing more than a second-hand Captain Cold in a lot of ways.
Right.
So, in a lot of ways,
Captain Cold was a better character before Mr. Freeze was a good character. By a long shot.
Yeah.
But
Mr. Freeze didn't even become a good character until, 1992 when the animated series came out?
The moment Dini did something with him.
Rewrote all of that? Yeah. So the answer is no, but yeah.
I would say the answer is if you're not trying to compare him to the Gotham Gallery, you've got... I don't think there's anyone in there that's particularly failing at being a villain. They're all pretty damn good villains. Mm-hmm. They're just, I suppose, different. And they haven't had their own time to stand around and... Man, they haven't made 15 freaking Flash movies. But there's a new Batman property coming out every 2-3 years.
Now, let me say, though, as far you want iconic, or, epic at the very least. Maybe not iconic, but epic. Mm-hmm. The Reverse Flash? Holy shit, man.
Yeah.
The Reverse Flash caused the Flashpoint Paradox and pretty much destroyed the DC Universe as we knew it. Mm-hmm. And caused the New 52. I mean, this is a bad mofo right there, I'm telling you.
He's done some harm. No doubt about it. And
no,
I think they're as good as anybody else. Part of their problem, is they just don't have, their names aren't as cool. They're just not. Yeah. Reverse Flash sounds weird.
Yeah. It does.
They have some marketing issues over there.
Captain Cold.
Yeah. A lot of captains. Mirror Master I always thought was okay, but people don't like Master at the end of things.
I do love that bit from Justice League Unlimited when the trickster's in the bar drinking. Mm-hmm. He's like, man, they won't listen to me. They'd probably listen to me if I was a captain.
No, they wouldn't, buddy.
All right. So thank you for the nice comments, Edward. We're glad to have you as a listener. Please write in again. If you have any questions, ask us. Let us know what your thoughts are on any damn thing you want to.
Mm-hmm. That's the standing policy.
Kyler Hannon on Twitter says, thanks for ruining the Nolanverse for me.
You're welcome.
I did. I favorited the tweet. I'm guessing he didn't mean that in a good way because he didn't actually... he isn't following us on Twitter, so...
He just thought, what a bunch of dicks, and moved on with his life?
I guess so.
What a bag full of penises.
If we ruin the Nolanverse for him, I mean, I guess you could take it as sort of a, oh man, they screwed it up. No, Nolan ruined the Nolanverse.
Yeah, I have the mixed feeling about it of, on the one hand, I hate ruining things for people. I do. It sucks. I hate it happening to me. At the same time, we didn't make that fucking movie.
Well, ruining as far as giving spoilers, that's one thing.
Oh, no, that is absolutely
I do hate that.
Unforgivable. I mean, if he just hadn't watched the movies yet, then, come on, dude.
I feel like if he says, thanks for ruining the Nolanverse for me, and he had already seen it, and he loved it, and we showed him why it was shit, then... And by the way, we did say The Dark Knight was the best Batman ever put to screen.
That is also true.
We also said The Dark Knight Rises was the worst Batman movie ever put to screen.
It was exactly we were kind of hard on Batman Begins, but we gave it some breathing room. We were actually not as hard on The Dark Knight as the Dark Knight itself. Come on, man, we liked the movie. I went to the theater twice. I went to watch it again because I enjoyed it. I
went probably 4 times total. And
it wasn't just to go back and find new ways to make fun of it. It was just, I really enjoyed the movie.
Yeah. But, but if ruining it means that he liked it and now he doesn't, that means that he now agrees with us?
It just means that
why be mad at us?
Yeah. The Bears are bad news, I guess.
Your lack of observational skills made you love the thing in the first place. And then listening to us... We obviously turned you around on that. It's about making smarter fans for me. Please, pay attention to these things. Don't just go, Batman is awesome. Pay attention to the movies you're watching and pay attention to what they're doing to your characters and what those characters are putting out there to the public. I don't want to be part of of a world where, the mainstream thinks that Batman is something he is not, or any of these characters. They're precious to me.
I understand, and
and as for plot holes, well, hell, your ass should be paying attention to that anyway.
Well, plot holes are a fine thing to not pay attention to. That's the point of the suspension of disbelief is to let you briefly levitate over the plot holes. That's the whole fucking thing. You can find a plot hole in damn near anything.
Sure,
but it was just... Thing is, Batman Begins was a fine start.
I'm not talking about slight continuity errors.
Yeah, no.
I'm not talking about slight continuity errors. I'm talking about big gaping
giant holes in the middle of the Middle East that Bruce Wayne climbs out of.
So, I don't know. Yay or I'm sorry, Kyler.
No, I can tell you. I'm genuinely sorry that if we ruin the movie, I hate that we've ruined a good memory, but at the same time, The Dark Knight Rises did so much emotional damage to me to watch that I can't be responsible for my contributions to the world post watching it. I can't.
Right, and you can just kind of pop on and say, well, those guys are dicks, and pretend that you love it, even though you know secretly deep down in your heart that we were right. It's fine.
To be absolutely fair, we both said, and I'll reiterate, if we're wrong, please prove us wrong. I would love to.
We want to like these
the
movies.
thing is, I really loved The Dark Knight, and I mean, it was probably my favorite movie at that moment. Well, that's not true. It's always going to be Shaun of the Dead, but that's between me and Shaun of the Dead. But short of Simon Pegg movies, it was my favorite movie, and Rises just completely ruined it. Like, I can't go back and enjoy that movie as much, having watched where it all came to a head.
Because you know where it's going.
Right. I'm watching the whole movie during The Dark Knight. I'm like, this isn't suspenseful at all. He's going to... I mean, this is like his last night out. What am I worried about?
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
we've already...
So our friend Christopher White has some questions for us.
Sure.
He says, first, why when Flash went back in time to save his mother was there 3 versions of himself, but when he went back in time for only 24 hours while trying to stop the tsunami, he briefly saw himself, but then the other disappeared? Why weren't there 2 Flashes running around? We'll start with that one, because he's got other questions.
Okay. You want to go for it?
Sure. I would say when the Flash went back in time to save his mother, there were 3 versions of himself. There was the child Barry of the 80s, and there was the 2015 self. Now that takes care of the past and the present version. Then there was a 3rd future version of himself. That's the one who motions to Barry not to save their mother while he's fighting not Dr. Doom. What? Professor Zoom or Reverse Flash, whatever. I always think of him as Professor Zoom. It was Reverse Flash in this continuity.
Right. All we know is that that's 2015 plus. We don't know exactly where.
Right.
We know he still looks pretty young in the footage, but
now maybe that would indicate that Reverse Flash isn't really dead and that future Barry still has to take him down later. I think that's true. I think I personally think that Eddie killing himself did nothing. I think he died for nothing, and I think that's going to show up on the show at some point.
Well,
and I'll explain that a little later. But or maybe that was just the future until Eddie killed himself.
Yeah, it gets into a question of whether a change in one version of reality creates a pocket reality or goes back and retroactively changes that reality.
Right.
And they haven't
been
expounded which rules we're going to be using.
Right. They haven't talked, there are 3 big time travel styles that you can go with. You can go with like the Everett Wheeler multiverse theory.
Every decision
which says that every time you
makes
go
a new
back in
decision,
time,
makes a new reality.
Right. Every time you go back in time, the minute you step foot in that time, it creates an alternate reality, and the original reality goes on its merry way. So you never actually travel back in time, as such as creating or changing the original timeline. Or there's the bootstrap paradox, or the ontological paradox, if you like. And that's just, you always go back in time. You always did that. It all has to happen over and over again. There's no getting out of it.
Well,
then there's the ripple effect.
Example from last week? You were talking about the fan theory. Or it was like a fanfic thing where Batman has to go back and be Joe Chill himself.
Yeah, and it has to happen that way. Right, that's the bootstrap paradox, basically. Or another good example of the bootstrap paradox would be 12 Monkeys.
Right.
Then there's the ripple effect.
Yeah, we'll go ahead. Sorry.
And they're using all 3 of these to some measure.
Right.
And the ripple effect is just as straight-laced as you can damn get with time travel. You go back in time, you change anything, everything that happened gets erased, everything is changed.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, except for that weird part at the middle of the movie of part 2.
It was a comedy after all, man.
Yeah,
they played around.
Now, but as for him seeing himself, like in the tsunami episode, when he's running and he sees himself to the left of himself, and he says, "And then I disappeared." And then later on, he's running again, and he goes so fast that he goes back in time, and he sees himself from the other side. So that's all that was. He was just traveling through time.
They
for a brief second.
There's still the version of Barry that has to go back and tell him not to save his mother. There's no reason to think that in the process of gaining that much speed that you don't kind of run into an area where you might see another version of even yourself. And it could even be his version of his self that's going back to do like the bootstrap idea. Because the bootstrap version of this is that future Barry has to be there to tell him that. So now whatever it is that Barry 2015 is doing, at some point in the future, he's going to go time travel again, come back and tell himself to, chill. And that it's a locked-in event now.
Yeah, I mean, but the show has not been forthcoming up to this point with exactly how they're handling all of it. So my thought is that Harrison Wells, or Eobard Thawne, I should say, faked his own death to make them think that it was Eddie who was his original ancestor or whatever. Because if Eddie had killed himself and Eobard disappeared from the timeline, he never would have gone back in time, and Barry's dad never would have gone to prison, etc., etc. And also, we don't know where Harrison Wells is. Like, why would Star Lab still be there? Like, that's why I think that what's going to happen is that Eobard faked his way out, made it look like he died, and his true ancestor is Malcolm Thawne, who is the twin brother of
Eddie.
Barry Allen, and they were separated at birth.
Oh, yeah.
So, and we have been bringing in mysticism into the Arrow Flash universe. So, and let us not forget that Malcolm Thawne as Cobalt Blue utilized mysticism.
Yeah, he did. And Zoom's character has a lot of revenge jealousy to him too. It's a theme that might be around.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what the hell he's up to yet, though.
And that would actually answer Christopher White's other question. Thawne said he wouldn't be born for another 138 years, so how did he and Barry even know each other? Eobard actually did tell him that the history between the Allens and the Thawnes was very long and complicated. So I am almost completely certain that we are going to meet Cobalt Blue, if not as Zoom, then as somebody else coming soon. Because I really do. I think that Eobard faked his own death, and that he's actually a descendant of Malcolm Thawne, who would be Barry's twin brother, who coveted the powers that.
I mean, I'm up for
got.
Cobalt Blue just because I think it's a fucking cool name at the very least.
It is a cool.
I like the code name, man. If I was Cisco, I'd be high-fiving somebody.
Better than Pollux.
Yeah. But they gave us an actual, an in-house description for why. When he was Eobard, he hated him as much, and there's like it's not Hatfield McCoy.
Well, it was very undisclosed as far as like what exactly was going on between the Allens and the Thawnes,
right?
Though.
But the Allens and the Thawnes have just apparently in Eddie's version of history, or not Eobard's version of his own genealogy and past, he's always seen those two as competing, and the way he thinks of it is if the Allens didn't exist, then the Thawnes would be the greatest family in the history of, his known universe, and it pisses him off. It's part of the motivation they gave us even in the show was just good old family pride. And I imagined, I'm not sure they were that specific about it, but I imagine that since this Barry Allen is the first in a line of what are going to be really insanely productive Allens, that he's the one he hates.
Mm-hmm. Well, part of the reason that Eobard hates the Flash so much is, to begin with, is because in the comic books, and I don't know how they're going to do that in the show because they always change stuff, but in the comics, Malcolm Thawne was Barry's long-lost twin brother. He started dabbling in mysticism, became Cobalt Blue. Now, here's the real point of interest at this is that basically his soul gets put into each Thawne after him. After he dies, like that soul keeps going and going and going throughout the generations. So it is Malcolm Thawne and his hatred that fuels the Thawnes up to Eobard.
Which would weirdly make Eobard the most loving of any of the Thawnes that have ever met Alan, because he actually did, as he put it, he really started to like the kid, which would be hard to fight, literally a magical past of hate.
Yeah, and I think that was more or less just, admiration, maybe?
You just get to know a guy after a while.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know that that's where they're going to go with it. I would bet anything that they're going to be calling Cobalt Blue Zoom. I believe Zoom is going to be Cobalt Blue in some way or another.
And we were wondering about that when we saw the first promo, months ago.
Yeah, because
the blue streak.
By the way, Zoom, the character that they're showing us, is like a blue Flash running around. Zoom in the comics looks just like Reverse Flash.
Yes,
he's just another version of Reverse Flash. So
one that doesn't have to worry about the X's, Y's, and Z's of how, travel works.
Or more, or more accurately, I think he was the first version of the Reverse Flash, actually.
Ooh, I can't remember on that one.
I think he was.
I do know as far as the canon goes, he's the most advanced version of any of the speedsters. He doesn't even pay attention to, he just runs through time itself. Even for a speedster, he's genuinely like shit yourself scary.
Yeah, so they've already changed the history. They've already changed what Zoom looks like and who Zoom is, because they didn't want to do Reverse Flash again. And I get that, and it's confusing as hell anyway.
Of course.
So part of it is, it does help to know some of the backstory in the canon, but I don't think they're going to be going along with all of it, obviously, because some of it's pretty confusing. No. By the way,
it's mostly useful for getting themes to be able to take and pull apart.
I feel remiss, though, on Edward's question, because we listed a bunch of villains, but we didn't mention Killer freaking Frost, who Caitlin is probably going to become, or definitely going to become in some iteration.
She crossed my mind and you said something funny.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. And all even her, it's kind of a... Killer Frost may be one of the better sounding ones out of a lot of them.
Yeah. But still not quite as cool as Captain Cold.
Yeah, a lot of
There's something about carving up hookers, man. Just makes you a badass villain. I don't know what.
Just a rite of passage for all of them.
Right. I don't know. I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode, though. What do you think?
I believe we've gone way past the news and beyond, man.
All right. So we are DC On Screen. We are proud members of the Giant Size Team Up Network. You can find every episode on DCOnScreen.com. We're also on iTunes and Stitcher. Go ahead and just hit that subscribe button or give us some 5-star ratings and reviews, because those things really do help us get out there. And God, we enjoy hearing from you guys. I always love when we have a listener feedback segment, because that's one of my favorite parts of the show, is just talking to you guys. So if you have questions or comments, let us know. And if you would like a similar podcast to ours about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, go check out our friends Matt Carroll and Jeff Randall at the Marvel Cinematic Universe Podcast, or MCUcast.com. I guested over there last week and did an episode. I think that's still the latest episode up over there. We had a lot of fun talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, and a lot of speculation about the new Marvel movies coming out. So I think that's going to wrap it up. And until next week, when we'll be doing more Gotham reviews, more Flash, more Arrow, more... I think we'll be having a Supergirl coming up fairly soon.
It's a deluge of capes and fun, man.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. We won't like everything, but I hope you guys join us on the journey and let us know what you thought. Until then, keep some DC on your screen.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.